Turabi,
Assalamu
our
alaikum
scholar.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatullah. Thank you, brother. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Of salam and regards from Kashmir to all participants and brothers of ASSAM. We are
Biz
very
de Keşmir'e
grateful.
selam ediyoruz.
We are very grateful of President of ASSAM and his team for providing us this opportunity annually to discuss the issues confronting Muslim Ummah and countries all over the world. Renowned intellectuals and scholars, they are being provided with the opportunity to participate in such conferences, and this is a very important conference as Kashmir and Palestine and many other issues are being confronted by the Muslim Ummah. The issue of Kashmir is a very old and historic issue, and everybody knows that the state of Jammu and Kashmir had been a Muslim state and had been ruled by the Muslims for centuries. But when the Britishers came in subcontinent, they occupied whole subcontinent, and being part of this region, it was occupied by the Britishers, and later on this was sold to a non-Muslim prince, ruler, Galab Singh. The people of Jammu and Kashmir, they have been striving for their right of self-determination for centuries. Ultimately, when a strong movement started in subcontinent that was led by Qaeda Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and that movement succeeded, and it was decided that after British rule, the subcontinent would be divided into separate countries where Muslims are in majority. Those areas would constitute Pakistan, and where non-Muslims, Hindus are in majority, they would constitute India. So in accordance with these principles of division of subcontinent, being a Muslim majority state, more than 85% Muslim majority, this state was enjoying at that time, and religiously and culturally and geographically quite contiguous to Pakistan. It would have been acceded to Pakistan, but the Britishers, they hatched a conspiracy with the convenience of Congress leadership and the local princely ruler Hari Singh. They unilaterally invaded Jammu and Kashmir, and they sent their forces to occupy and have a permanent hold of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Against this aggression, the Mujahideen of Jammu and Kashmir, and especially Muslims, they started their freedom struggle, and they succeeded to liberate 1/3 of Kashmir, which is now called Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. When India went to the United Nations and submitted its petition before the Security Council that there should be a ceasefire and this issue should be settled peacefully. This aggression was made on the pretext of a so-called instrument of accession, which was agreed upon the princely ruler Hari Singh and the Indian government. And in accordance with this instrument of accession, only three subjects, foreign affairs, defense, and communications, they were given to the Indian Union, and rest of all the departments, they were given to the state government. And uh, this state was quite an autonomous state with its president, prime minister, and its constitution. But unfortunately, later on, India deviated from its commitments, and they have been trying to confiscate the autonomy of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. But since then, there was an Article 370 in the Indian Constitution and another Article 335A, which were providing the provision of the semi-autonomous status to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And no Indian can purchase land and become citizen of Jammu and Kashmir. So there were safeguards to save the Muslim and the Kashmiri character of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. But recently, in 5th of August of 2019, the Modi government unilaterally violating all bilateral agreements in between Kashmiris and the Indian government, and in between Pakistan and India, and violating the international law and the United Security Council resolutions of spirit, unilaterally decided to integrate the state, eroding the character of the state, bifurcating state, and declaring state a unitary territory which was supposed to be controlled by the Indian government directly. So this was a clear violation of international law and the agreements between the then Kashmiri leadership and the founding fathers of India. And there were many agreements in between India and Pakistan. All principles and laws have been violated, and Indian unilaterally decided to integrate this state. Kashmiris have been striving in Jammu and Kashmir and internationally against this decision. Pakistan took this heinous decision to the United Nations and OIC. OIC also passed resolutions that unilaterally India cannot change the status of Jammu and Kashmir. And the political parties of the occupied Kashmir and many individuals, they went to the Indian Supreme Court and they submitted a petition demanding that in accordance with the instrument of accession and in accordance with the international law, this Modi government decision should be revoked, and the people of Jammu and Kashmir, they should be given their due role as per constitution and the agreements of the Indian leadership and Indian constitution. But unfortunately, on 11th of the December, Indian Supreme Court, ignoring and violating all the international laws and all the agreements in between Kashmiris and then leadership of India, they endorse this illegal action of the Modi government. This is not the only incident. This Indian Supreme Court has also given a verdict regarding the Babri Masjid, which was historically a Muslim masjid and Muslim monument in the subcontinent. And that masjid, historical masjid, was demolished by the extremists in those, and that illegal step was also endorsed by the Indian Supreme Court, and many other such events which are proved that the Indian judicial system is biased towards the not Muslim of Jammu and Kashmir, but also more than 200 million Muslims living in India and other minorities in the Indian Union, whether they are Christians, whether they are Sikhs, whether they are Dalits, or so on. So many reports have been produced by the international human rights groups, Amnesty International, and Asia Watch, and many reports by the Indian intellectuals, Arundhati Rai and Justice Tarkunde, and so many other human rights activists of the India who are a recognition of international fame. They have condemned such human rights violations committed by the Indian forces who have been deployed to crush the popular Kashmiris movement for their right of self-determination. They are more than 1 million. They are in shape of security forces and paramilitary forces and intelligence networks and their stooges who are operating, and they have been the forces they have been empowered to catch and kill any Kashmiri, terming him as a freedom fighter and Hurriyat Pasand. So imposing draconian laws, POTA and TADA and so many such laws, they have been in place for more than 30 years there. And especially the forces who are committing massacres and killings of custodial killings of innocent over leaders and scholars there. They are not liable to answer before any court. And impunity of the killings and massacre is there in Jammu and Kashmir. A renowned human rights activist of international frame, Jalil Andrabi, he was killed by the Indian forces, and later on, Indian officer Avtar Singh, who was charged of such heinous crime. Later on, he was settled by the Indian forces, Indian government in Canada and later on in America. So there are many reports, such reports, which has been quoted by. There is another international institution, Kathmandu-based institution, South Asian Human Rights Institution. that quoted around 62 cases of the Indian security forces officers who committed murder of the innocent leaders and the human rights activists. And unfortunately, they were not uh, produced, culprits were not produced before the court. And the courts were quite, uh, they were not able to summon such culprits who committed murders and killings of the scholars and leaders of our freedom struggle there. So there is a quite discriminatory behavior of the Indian judicial system, which is now has become a stooge of the RSS agenda of RSS, which is being operated by the Modi government. Our senior leader, the icon of the freedom struggle, Sayyid Ali Gilani, he was arrested, and for 12 years he was kept in house arrest without providing with him any medical facility and any legal assistance. He passed away in this state of affairs, and his dead body was not handed over to their kith and kins, and their kith and kins and their beloved ones, they have not been allowed to participate in the to offer the namaz-e-janaza prayer and the burial ceremony. Similarly, there was another our senior leader, Ashraf Sarai, who was right-hand man of Sayyid Ali Gilani. He was also got martyred in jail, and he was not provided with any medical and legal facility. And his dead body was also deprived from participation of their kith and kins and namaz-e-janaza and other burial ceremony. So this is state of affairs. Over another senior scholar, a professor, Abdul Guru, he was sentenced to death by the Indian Supreme Court, and in the decision it was elaborated by the Indian Supreme Court that there are not sufficient evidences to sentence him, but to get satisfied the masses of the India, court is bound to verdict him a capital punishment, the punishment of death. And it is a part of many human rights activists. They raised this issue, and they objected on the decision. Many senior lawyers like A.G. Nurani and many others, senior lawyers in India, they also raised question regarding this state of affairs in Germany.
Sayın Rashid, sıradaki konuşmacı için.
Mr. Rashid, can we please wrap up so the next speaker also has time, sir?
Okay, if within 2 minutes, inshallah, I would conclude. So this in this scenario, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, they have got high hopes from Muslim Ummah and our Turkish brothers and NGOs that just as we see the situation in Palestine, there is a very close collaboration of India and Israel to crush the freedom struggle of Palestinians and Kashmiris, and they cooperate with each other strategically on different fronts, and they are following the method of changing the demography and to mass killings and to dilute the Muslim character of the region. So we request that Kashmiris should be kept in prayers and heartbeat for the success of our brothers fighting in Palestine and elsewhere. Once again, I am very grateful and thank you, brothers of ASSAM, who organized and gave us this opportunity to participate in this August conference. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.